when he said that, I took it as a real threat. And I fucking I kind of ran to him. He was like 5 feet away. When he says it, by this time he's about 2 feet away. And I go towards him and I mush him in the mouth. And then when I pull back, he's getting put in the cage. Kind of, it's like a little bit of a struggle. And he says something again. And when I go to hit him in the mouth again, he gets turned and I crack him in the back of the head. Never with a closed fist, all open hand.
Mm-hmm. But at this time, the inmate's cuffed
in the front.
The inmate's under
He's being escorted, by 2 officers on each side and a sergeant.
Okay.
I'm
trying to get I want to get out the facts. That way it's not one-sided, because
no.
A lot of people see it from because there was a lot of people involved.
Sure.
302s and Discovery. There's a lot of people who told and ratted, and nobody wanted to actually, take your side besides the one guy and actually another guy.
But so what ends up happening is I get pulled out of the gate and I immediately get taken off the unit. I walk off the unit and I go look for my lieutenant. So I want to tell him right away what happened, because at this time there's cameras in this place. Like I said, on a silver platter, dude. And
you served it right up.
Yeah, I served it right up. Yeah. Fucking I tell him what happens, and I'm told to leave the building, which is normal shit.
Yeah.
And they send me to the main building to write my special. And I write my special on what happens, and then I'm told to go home by the 2 majors. And I go home. And this is kind of like where this story gets fucked up, because I have 2 officers that back up what I heard. Other officers that were further away didn't hear it, just saw what happened. Mm-hmm. Kind of like heard the commotion, turned and saw what happened. And what ends up happening is they give me no inmate contact, and they stick me in the mailroom. And the other officer, they leave out there. The 2 officers that say they heard what he said, they leave out there. Fast forward a year, or some change or whatever. I'm then told that I'm being suspended with pay. Right?
Okay.
That all right, we're just going to suspend you with pay until this shit blows over. Now, again, this is all. I don't have a lawyer yet. I don't have nothing, because I don't think anything's going to come of it, because the guy wasn't injured or anything like that. And then I find out about a couple months later. In fact, I find out the day before your wedding. That I'm being suspended with no pay now. And pretty much going to get what they call ladder milled. And what that is they let you go. You're pretty much fired without being fired. Like, you're not officially fired, but you're off the books, so to speak.
Okay.
And at this point in time, I go get a lawyer. Mm-hmm. And when I go get my lawyer, I try to call the 2 people that heard what the inmate had said and backed up my story. One I reached, and he was fine with whatever. He was like, yeah, I'm gonna go through the union. And the other guy had blocked not only me from his phone, but had blocked the union rep and all this shit and the IVP. And so at that time I was like, oh shit, what the fuck's going on, And it's not till later that I find out from my lawyer that this other guy, this new guy, and his lawyer had gone down to, if I'm rewinding a little bit, from what I heard, the county prosecutor kicked it back. They didn't want no parts of it. Mm-hmm. And the SID sent it up to the Attorney General's office, Department of Justice. And they ate that shit up, because at the time they had a guy in there. They still have a guy in there that is, that's what they're about. They're about locking up cops. Now, again, there's cops that deserve to get locked up. They do dumb shit, they do crazy shit. I was just shocked at the indictment that I got, and then the time that they were telling me I was going to face.
All right, so let's get into that. Like, you're there, and they tell you what you're facing. What are you facing the first time that they come down with the indictment?
Well, first I got to go up to central office to the fucking SID headquarters. These are even bigger clowns and bigger morons.
Okay.
And they pull me in there trying to do some scare tactic shit, and I'm just like laughing. And then some guy got mad because I grabbed the fucking bottle of water, and he was like, "You can drink out of the fountain." I was just like, "Whatever, bro."
All right. Then.
And they were like, I had to give my ID up and my badge up and my vest. And they thought they were going to I guess they were trying to do some head game shit because they were like, "Do you mind if we," there was like a bunch of like people in there that I knew that worked at our jail. And I was like, "Why the fuck are they up here? They're not SID. Yeah. Well, here they were in job training for SID. Mm-hmm. And they were like, we're gonna take your fingerprints 3 times and your photo 3 times. Because we're training them, just so you know. Do you have a problem with it?" And
rats in training.
So I could have said, "Go fuck yourself," but I was like, I wanted to make it look like I didn't really give a fuck. So I was
a bunch of rats in training.
Yeah. So I was like, "Yeah, go ahead, man. This is great.
Yeah,
it's a good time." You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so I do it, and whatever. I leave, and I meet my lawyer for the first time because the union lawyer, once you're indicted at this time, the union lawyer could only represent you if you came out of pocket yourself, right? Okay. I don't believe it's like that now, but this prick wanted 50 G's up front. Like I had 50 G's to put up front. And I was like, "Well, go fuck yourself."
Yep.
And I found this lawyer, I believe his name was Jeffrey Ziegelheim. Yeah. And, we came to an understanding on price. And he wanted to take my case. He saw everything, and he was like, "You definitely have a case." He's like, "I'm not gonna lie, that fucking video is a little brutal,
detrimental."
Yeah, the video wasn't good. But at this time, they just indicted me and the guy, the new guy that I was helping, and what they indicted us on was official misconduct and tampering with evidence, which the tampering evidence charge was they said that our specials were lies, and that's why you get the tampering with evidence.
So no charge or indictment for excessive force.
No, that's
because they came out in the paper. They came out online in the paper that you were charged with excessive force.
Yeah, no, that's not true. That's not true.
So that's actually not what you were charged for. No. The indictment came down on.
Yeah, it wasn't specifically excessive force. I don't know if the official misconduct. See, that official misconduct charge carries that kind of. It's kind of like the RICO shit.
Like it's like an umbrella,
right? It carries a bunch of shit. So
it could have been there,
but they didn't charge me with assault, excessive force. That's what they charged me with. And
second degree.
Second degree. Yeah, okay. Second degree.
Yep.
And they charged the younger guy with no time the same. They charged him with the tampering with evidence.
Okay.
Which, if you're found guilty in the state of New Jersey, is a mandatory jail time.
Okay.
For me at least. And so me and my lawyer, we decide we're going to fight this thing, and we start to get in that mix. Now at the time, COVID is ramping up.
Mm-hmm.
And it slows this case way, way down. And it's kind of like you're just in like limbo. You're like in purgatory. You have to continue with your life and, you got to start providing for your family still because, I got no money coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And you are wondering about what's the next step? What's the next step? But COVID shuts the courts down, as everyone knows, shuts the nation down. And I don't hear from my lawyer about anything for a long, long time. And COVID starts to settle down, and now they're starting to do online things. They start doing the Zooms. And they send out their first plea agreement to me, which was plead guilty, we'll give you max 5 with a mandatory minimum of 3. And I told them to go fuck themselves. And I used that terminology literally.
Yeah.
I wasn't very bright in all this, at the end. Again, I was going through a lot of substance abuse issues. Those got ramped up, and I was just really feeling myself. I'm like, You know, I'm telling people, like, I got this in the bag, bro. We're fucking going to trial, son. Like, tune in. Bird's about to beat this. I'm going out undefeated. You know what I mean? And that was not the case. That was not the case. This ends up slowing way down for me.
So you go to court. I remember friends and family were there at that hearing. And so they give you basically what's about to happen.
Well, if you rewind a little bit, a major event happens about 6 months before we even go to the court. I get a call. Actually, I get 30 missed calls from my attorney's office. I'm in Florida, living it up, like thinking like, oh, you know, I'll probably just stay down here. Like, fuck it, dude. And I think the missed calls are about to tell me like, it's over. Like, we're good to go. Yeah. No, my lawyer ended up having a fucking heart attack and dies.
And, yeah, that is right.
And I'm already thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars invested in this. And then I'm told by, not only am I told that he dies, I'm then told by the firm that he worked for, which I thought was weird. Sorry, but we're not going to pick your case back up. We don't have any more specialists for this case, lawyers that are used to this type of case.
Wow.
And I start having it out with them. And I'm then told that this other lawyer will pick up my case. But at this time, I've had friends and family help me out with money for not only for the lawyer, but just for my life. Like, you know, I'm working construction and all that shit.
Yeah.
And, this guy, I think he came into it with good intentions, but when he saw the case and saw how much money it was going to take and all this stuff, he pretty much told me, like, you know, I don't want no parts of this. And I had to get a public defender.
So you get the public defender, you have a few meetings with that person, and how do you feel at that point before you go down to the court? Which ultimately you hear basically what you're going to get.
So I start talking to her, and she's fucking cuckoo for cocoa nuts, dude. She's telling me we're going to give the defense of the Will Smith slapping Chris Rock, and look, he didn't get locked up. And I'm thinking, what the fuck are you talking about, lady? And at that point, at this point, I had started cleaning up my life. You know, really, I had actually gotten a really good job, and I was clean and sober and all these things. And when you start doing those things, you start to get clear-headed, and you start becoming the old person that you were. And I started thinking, like, I'm really fucked here. Like, I need to come to terms with this. I got to start getting my affairs in order, because I think I got a good chance. If I could lose this and go away. Actually, I got a great chance of losing this, because this lady don't know what the fuck she's talking about. I didn't even think she read one thing out of my file. Like, all the work that the other guy did, I don't think she read one piece. She just came back, well, you saw what happened with the Chris Rock, right? And I'm like, what, lady? And
So you go down to Burlington County Court. We're all there. You go in, your lawyer goes into the courtroom with nobody.
They go into, not only is my lawyer gone at this point, but this is the third deputy attorney general lawyer on the case. There's been two that have already quit. They're tired of this case too. I don't know what the fuck happened, but this is the third new guy.
Yep.
And they go into the chambers, and pretty much, they agree, if we agree, to an open plea. And what that means is I'm pleading guilty, but it's up to the judge on if I serve time or how much time I'm going to serve. Okay. And the judge, my lawyer confides to me that the judge is saying that this is a probation case. He's, I'm going to give him probation. If the I forget the word, but if the good factors outweigh the bad factors on how he's lived his life this whole time, and the mitigating factors and stuff like that. And I left. That was the first one, and I left there thinking I won. I'm fucking calling everybody. The Bird's undefeated. Undefeated. We lost the job. We lost the battle, but we did not lose the war.
Yeah.
I'm feeling myself. People are rejoicing. We're fucking going out.
Okay.
I go to the next court hearing. This is when everybody comes, and at this point in time, the deputy attorney general is told by the attorney general that, yeah, fuck that. Hey, this is the way that what I was pleading guilty to, law-wise, you have to serve some type of jail time, right? Okay. It's just a stipulation of the law. The law is the law, and you just can't give me probation just because the judge deemed it to be a probationary thing, and which upset me, pissed me off. But like, I just thought they went way fucking overboard. Like, we went from probation, and then they were like, we want 7 years, and I was like, 7 fucking years
for a mush.
What are you talking about right now? Like, you're out of your fucking mind.
Yeah.
And my lawyer's like, you're probably gonna get 3. You'll be out in 9 months with good time.
Okay.
And I just wrapped my head around it. And I was just like, well, I can either take this deal and be out in 9 months possibly, or if I didn't take the deal, that means that plea deal was going to be off the table. It's I have to go to trial, and if I lose, it's a 10 with a 5. So I got to do minimum 5 years. There is no parole. There is no nothing.
Yeah.
You got to do the minimum of 5, possibly 10. You know what I mean? If you're, it's up to them, really. Then you can start getting parole after that 5. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, it had been such a long time, time-wise, money-wise. My family was beat up over it. I had really great friends, Ace, Tommy, Mac. These guys were really these guys were with me in court all the time, or on the phone with me all the time. And I took the deal. And I put myself in the mercy of the court, hoping that I would not get that 7.
So you go from a state corrections officer for 17 years, and now here you are. You're
the fucked up
part. I remember when you stand up, and the judge reads the sentence off, and he says, "Do you want to say anything?" And I remember you saying, basically, I'm going to take whatever you give me on a chin. I'm going to do my time. And that's it. Which a lot of people that were in that courtroom at the time still say to this day, that's like the most stand-up shit like they ever heard. Dude, they were like, you know what I mean? You got to, in reality, dude, you got to take it on the chin. And that's what you told the judge, which was a very stand-up thing. Now, you just went from a 17-year-old a 17-year state correction officer. Now you're going in as an inmate to the same department that you just spent 17 years in. That's got to be a mind fuck.
It wasn't fun. I'll fucking tell you that. But so when he asked me if I had any statements to make, I wanted to come off like I was accepting responsibility. Right, we're at this point now. There's no There's no reason to point fingers and all this shit. I've never ratted out anybody in my fucking life. Never will. That's not my style. That's why you're not hearing me on this podcast right now. Blaming people for my actions or being upset about other people maybe getting away with things. That's just not me. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of people out there talking a lot of shit though.
Yeah. That's just not. Listen, to each his own. I'm not judging or anything like that. I'm just saying that's not me, right?
Yeah.
I told the judge, I'm an upstanding guy. I respect the law. I respect law enforcement. I'm guilty of this, and I will take whatever you give me, and I will do the time, and I will still, when I get out, be a responsible, law-abiding citizen. Because I didn't get jammed up within that time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's not like you got jammed up being a dirty cop.
No, that's the thing. In the paper, they were making me out to be this maniac. The attorney general had put out statements that I brutally beat a youth and, out of control and all this shit. This guy was like a 30-year-old man who, then they start to you know, whatever, say like, oh, that is a youth or whatever, but fuck you. And
yeah.
And so there was a lot of bullshit in the paper. And the one thing that I didn't like was people were making me out to be a dirty cop. And I've never been a dirty cop. I've never, if you're a dirty cop bringing in money or drugs or phone, go fuck your scumbag. I got no love for you.
Yeah.
That wasn't me at all.
And there was a bunch of dirty cops during that time.
Listen, like I said, I'm not going to get into all that shit. Like, you know what I mean? There's another podcast for that. They can go on that podcast and listen to that bullshit, but that ain't me. Yeah. And, but so, yeah, you know, I made one statement to my, you know, when they asked, do you want to say anything to your family? I just said, I love everybody and please take care of my boys. And, you know, you were there, Mom was there, Nick was there. He had to go back because he thought I was supposed to have that court date the month prior.
Yeah.
My ex-wife came to every court date.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And didn't have to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was with somebody and they there's a lot of people who didn't show up for me.
Yeah.
And that I thought I was really good friends with and tight with. But, you know, to each his own. You know what I'm saying? Like, you live and you learn. It don't bother, like, it bothered me then. I got over the shit. It is what it is. You know, I don't know the intricacies of their life at that time. You know, I was just, my fault has always been that I'm a super loyal guy. And sometimes I expect that from other people, maybe too much. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So, yeah, off away I went in the silver bracelets.
All right. Well, we'll get into the next episode and we'll get into your time, you know, during that time as an inmate in the department that you worked for 17 years. And we'll just get into all that next time. So thanks for telling your story. It's pretty fucking wild.
Tell it. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. And,
it's going to get a lot wilder in a minute.
Yeah. Yeah. So on the next episode, we'll tell everybody about his little time in the department that he worked for. So thanks, Bert. Appreciate it.
All right. Brother. Thank you for having me.